All right, here we go. Ready? We recording?
Yep.
Action. All right, James, if you had to write a book, what would you call it?
Grab success by the balls.
Oh, man, that's totally my idea. You can't be stealing my ideas like that, man.
It was a good idea.
Really was. I think I could see a lot of people buying that book. Grab success by the balls.
I think we need to have Josh do that.
Write the book.
Ghostwrite the book.
Okay.
Dealsies.
Absolutely. Let's do it. We'll give you 1% of the profits.
That's a perfect deal.
But you're going to do 99% of the work.
Exactly.
You come up with all the concepts and and everything, and then I'll just put my stamp of approval on it.
Exactly. Do the press tour and everything.
Right. Well, so we've had a pretty busy last couple of weeks. You just got back from what, Phoenix?
Yeah, went out there for an event, Sean Terry's Extreme Freedom, and went out there, made some contacts. I think we got some people lined up to do some business with.
It's always awesome when you go to those events. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you go out there and it's just people wanting to sell you stuff. So that's, honestly what a lot of those events are. But then the networking, man, if you're already up and running and, have an established business, like growing your network should be number one. So yeah, you met a guy out there that's in another market that we're working on partnering up with and doing some co-wholesale deals.
Yeah.
And rocking it out. So
yeah, I went out there and it was just a lot of good energy, and I wouldn't say I really learned anything new because I think it was more directed towards newer people, but just hearing things that I already knew that we tend to forget because they're just basic, simple things. And
honestly, I always like it when you go to those things because you come back and you're like a different person.
I am.
You're like you're pumped. You're like, Marcus, I got all these ideas. I'm ready to crush it. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna change this. Like we need to redo our whole business. And I love that, man. Like you in this business, you got to stay on your toes because things change.
Every day.
Rapidly, man.
Yep.
You got to keep your edge up. You got to keep yourself motivated. It's a huge part of being successful, man. So.
No, it is, and then just being around, those guys that are just crushing it. I had a chance to kind of sit in a circle with all of them, really, except for Sean Terry, and then just we were sitting there just chatting for like 30 minutes about different things, and it was really cool just kind of hearing them talk, and then just being able to communicate.
So who are all the big guys there? Sean was there.
There was Sean Terry. There was Joe McCall, Kent Clothier, Pat Precourt.
Well, you were there.
Can't forget about myself.
Right.
And then there was Alex Youngblood. Alex Youngblood. There was Joel Block, but he's not really real estate related. He's just a money guy. He's helps people get not hedge funds together, but what was the thing you guys were doing before where you're raise capital when you had with your other syndications, yeah. So he's real big with that. Then there was Frank Cava, who's crushing it out in I forget where he's from, but he just does a ton of rehabs. He's got that down to a science, just retail flips. So
right. Very motivational, man. It's so awesome to go out there and see people be successful and hear their success stories. And it's not all about success too, man. Like some of the biggest lessons I've learned is from my failures. And those guys talk about how they failed and how they got to where they want to be. And that's honestly, that's the thing about success is, people will see somebody up on the stage like that and say, man, I want to be like that person. That's who I want to be. But what they don't realize is everything that they have to do to get there, all the mistakes that they have to make and all the chances that they have to make and all the leaps of faith that they have to take to say, hey, I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah, the successes and failures. Some of them talked about like how they had it all and then blew it all, like Kent Clothier, he was running like a 1.8 billion business at the age of 27, and just making millions. Had the houses, had the boats, had the cars, had everything, and then just basically said "fuck this" to his boss because they were trying to treat him, not the way that he felt he needed to be treated. And then he just dwindled all of his money. I mean, he had like, I don't remember how much, but he had a few million in the bank, and he just blew it all. And he was within, I think he said like 18 months, it was all gone. He had nothing. He was down to just a couple $1,000, and he had to work it all the way back up again.
Yeah.
So
and he's built what, 4 or 5 incredible businesses.
Yeah, there was 4 that were on the Inc.'s top 500 last year, and he's the only person that's his companies are the only ones to ever do that at the same time.
Yeah.
So
he's a cool dude. Okay, cool. Let's get into this podcast. We got people counting on us. The whole point of this podcast is to educate, to bring some of our badass ideas and what we're doing, what we're working on, and how we're crushing it here in the Kansas City market, soon to be in 2 other markets.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that.
I am too, man. We got the balls rolling on that, and just a few minor details really that we have to work out. A couple key people that we need to get in place, and we'll be killing it out there too. So, all right, Josh, we're gonna stop ranting here and let you start rocking it out here.
All right. So today on the Invest, Sell, Repeat podcast, we're doing questions. I feel like you guys might hear a question or two from your
On occasion.
day-to-day. Either it would be on the buyer side or the seller side, investor side, or people that might be relocating. I don't know if we're going to have time to really get all the different segments into this. We're talking about buyers or sellers, but
Right.
Let's start off with buyers. What do you guys think are the most important questions to ask when it comes to buying your first property or when you buy multiple properties? And what are some of the questions people think are important to ask, but not really, or people worry too much?
So I was doing a presentation a few months ago, and a guy asked me, I was selling, our services and what we do. And one of the first questions somebody asked me is, how much money do you make per deal? And in the back of my mind, and, it really put me on the spot. So I was in the front of a room. There was probably maybe 30 to 40 people in there. I mean, so it wasn't a huge audience. But it really caught me off guard because nobody had asked me that before. In my back of my mind, I was like, fuck this guy. Like, are you serious? That's really what you want to ask on your first thing? Because what it is, it's to me, it was how much money are you making, right? Instead of asking the intelligent questions like I think a good investor should be asking, right? How's the job market in Kansas City? To me,
that's important.
If I was going to buy out of state, that'd be one of the first questions I ask, right? Because the economy drives real estate. It drives the prices, it drives rents, and there's a lot to it. So really what I did, I kind of took a step back and collected myself instead of the, hey, screw you type of attitude, which I tend to get kind of quickly. I just I had a blanket answer in the back of my mind that I gave to him. But anyway.
So you grabbed success by the balls.
Yeah, I totally did. Yeah. The thing is too, like I'm not like getting up in front of people. That's honestly, I'm like inside. It's something that really terrifies me. I am not comfortable doing it. But I was at a point in my career where I'm like, this is the next step forward. So, we have been doing these little events and going out and speaking and just getting used to being up in front of people and, trying to make sense for an hour, which is hard for me to do a lot of times without coffee.
Right.
Or a shot. And questions that we get a lot are, how did you get started, Marcus? Because people want to know, they want to know the people that they're doing business with. They want to know if they're legitimate. And really, one question that people really don't ask me that I think they should is how many deals you've done. Because I think that's really important. There's a lot of people out there that go to a seminar and they listen to a presentation and they hear about how easy real estate is, So I went through a lot of I kind of came up in the seminar circuit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how I got started. And honestly, it was a really good experience for me, and I learned a lot. The only difference between me and most other people that go to the seminar is I took action, and I continue to take action. You get those people the wannabes, I guess you could say, right? The newbies that think that it's easy and think that they can just get a property under contract and make whatever offer and try to sell it. and there's just really no experience. There's a lot of little nitty gritty details in this business that you have to get nailed down. You have to understand, and things that you have to tweak. And then really, you can go to all the seminars you want and learn how to do real estate, but until you actually get in the game and you've done 15 or 20 deals, I wouldn't consider you a serious person to know what a deal is. Actually, I get grief in the beginning. I messed up so many deals. And that's not a bad thing. That's just that's part of the game, right? That's learning how to do it. And at this point, James and I have done, I would say thousands of deals together.
Yeah.
Thousands of deals, right? So we've had lots of experience, and we've done lots of rehabs. And, one reason we are successful is we can tell you a million different ways not to do it, how not to do it, right? Because we've done them all. We've done it wrong every way that you can think of. And we still make mistakes too, man. We were just talking the other day. Every once in a while we will get a property under contract that's, it's not a deal. But the thing is too, when you're doing lots and lots of deals like we do, not everyone's going to be a grand slam or a slam dunk. And you just got to take your lumps and move on. That's why we have a volume mentality. We like doing lots of deals, not one or two here or there, and just hoping that they sell and hoping that everything goes okay, because that's not going to happen.
Right.
It's never going to be perfect.
Never, man.
Well, I think it's another thing is like these seminars. I mean, I've never been, but I would assume that they don't really teach you like when you have to deal with the contractors and all like the little day-to-day problems that will come with when you get the property.
Day-to-day, no.
Yeah, no.
No, what you get is an overall view of how it should look. Mm-hmm. And then it's more like, hey, you go figure it out after that.
It's very basic. Hey, here's the step. You get the contract, you send it to the title company, you start marketing the property, you do this, you do that, And then it sounds easy, but there's, what do you do when the seller's calling you saying, why is my property out there? Or, dealing with the contractors and trying to keep a foot in their ass at all times. Or
I heard James have a conversation with a seller yesterday where he had to renegotiate because construction budget came in higher, right? And so he had to call them, and try to get the property basically $8,000 lower. And the lady on the phone was being very nice. And then I could hear her husband in the background just yelling and screaming and, calling James every name in the book.
Oh, I heard that conversation.
Yeah. And, so like, okay, so how do you deal with that, man? And I think he honestly, he did it like a pro. He really did. Because I would have been like, fuck you, man, and hung up the phone, right? Because I don't have a lot of patience. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing too, is like, I've realized I have a lot of strengths in this business. I'm really good at negotiating deals, right? I'm good at building systems and putting people in place. But I am not good at dealing with that kind of stuff because I this is my personality. So what I've done is I've hired people and I've brought on partners to help complement those weaknesses. I think that's one thing that has really helped me propel myself forward in this business, is bringing on people that can fill in the gaps, I guess is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the questions.
Oh, yeah, we had questions.
Rabbit trail.
So I guess we can move on to sellers, but would you guys want to talk about anything on the buyer side regarding
I think like he said, just the jobs, what's going on out there. Are you actively still doing things? I think, a lot of times people think that just because we're selling things or, going back to what he was saying a minute ago, just speaking, I think that's a good one. If I hear people speak, I want to know that they're actively still doing things and, not just.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people that get up and speak are just speakers, and they're not in the game doing deals.
Yeah, they're just educating at this point, and they're not actively doing things. So I think just learning and understanding what people are doing too,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Get this man a drink of water, quick. We've got a coffee for you.
I got coffee and water, but it's just
it's not enough.
Get
him a fire hose.
Yeah, or just a shot of Jack Daniels. That might help.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should totally start doing that on the show.
Shots with Marcus, James,
and then do the rant, and then do the rant bit.
Yeah, that would get very interesting.
Yeah.
And real quick too, just some other questions that people ask. So we actually get a lot of people coming in from out of state. Kansas City is a super hot market right now. I mean, pretty much the whole Midwest is, right? Just because our price points are so affordable here. we get callers in from, or investors in from California, and it blows their mind that they can buy a property here for, you know, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 all in. That's purchase price and rehab. That rents for $700 or $800 a month, right? It's because you cannot buy those types of deals out there. You know, and really all the back end systems too that we have in place are really important. That to me, that's the huge selling point. You know, because honestly, anybody can come here to Kansas City. I know that any investor can come here to Kansas City and buy a house for $2,000 down in the hood. We could pick those up all day long, you know, and it's easy to do. But buying the house is the easy part. The hard part is, like James said before, managing those contractors, right? Finding the right tenant and then screening the tenant properly and then trying to collect rent. I feel like that's something that we have got down to a science, and we are really, really good at buying properties in really good areas, doing quality construction, and placing good tenants and getting them in place. And that's once people come in and we show them the properties and we talk to them and we tell them what we do and how we do it. Our close rate that people come in is very, very high. We very rarely have somebody walk out if they're ready to buy, you know, and they have cash. We rarely have anybody walk out and say, you know, no, I'm gonna use another provider here, just because everything we do is in house. You know, so asking the right questions up front, you know, like James and I do, you know, around 15 minutes. Sorry, I just got the hand sign; it messed me up. About around 15 deals a month. And, you know, that's a lot of volume. And that's all off of our own marketing and off of the network that we've spent the last, you know, few years building up. And we're actually now, I'm really excited about this new program that we've been doing with our students. We're bringing people in. We're getting them plugged into all of the little systems on the wholesale side that we do, right? We get them plugged into Podio, and we get them plugged into our marketing campaign. And then we sell their deals for them too. And it's been working out really well. And I tell you what, it's a cool feeling to see somebody that can come in and not understand how the process work, and then in 60 to 90 days have enough leads coming in and cashing checks. And seeing a huge return on their investment, you know, because this business takes a lot of time. This is a very active way to make a living, but it's a great way to get your foot in the game too. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I enjoy seeing them get their first checks, and a lot of time those checks are bigger than what they made in the month before, and just. You know, seeing them succeed is always fun, and then feeling. It's just more deals for us too. I mean, you know, it's not only just all about us, but just, you know, it's just another way of networking and trying to find, you know, build those relationships so that we can, you know, do more deals ourselves too. So,
yep, absolutely.
So if you guys are interested in partnering with us, then you know, give us a call, come to our website, and there's a mentoring thing on the tab there on the, what do you call that? The header, the banner, the menu to partner with us.